You're listening to the Beauty Beyond Bella podcast, powered by Formula Wellness.
I'm your host, Dr. Yvette Suarez, owner and medical director of Bella Excellence, a diamond-accredited anti-aging med spa in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. On this show, we explore the latest trends in health, beauty, and anti-aging medicine while celebrating the inspiring journeys and achievements of our guests.
Welcome, Jordan. It's so great to have you. She is the owner of Lavish Locks. And so I love, as I love to have my entrepreneurs, boss women here today with us. It's always so amazing to keep lifting up our beautiful entrepreneurs. And so I really want to kind of start about what your industry does. How do you make an impact on all the beautiful women that you see?
We help women who want more hair. We specialize in hair replacement, chemo prosthetic pieces, and extensions.
So that was a lot, right? So you're not doing what just is basic. You really are making big impacts. I really want to know more about these chemo pieces that you're doing.
So women going through chemotherapy or radiation often lose their hair. And what we do is we put their hair on so that they don't have to go through the process of it falling out, dealing with fine hair, and they can continue living their lives like normal, go up in front of a boardroom, manage their people, and without anyone even knowing that they're going through what they're going through.
It's interesting, and I'm not sure you understand what an amazing impact that does for someone's soul, right? So it's different when you're making them look great on the outside and they can go in, but there's something about cancer, and everyone knows my journey here, that we don't want to be pitied. We don't want anyone to look at us and feel sorry for us. And sometimes when you lose the hair for chemo, that's the first thing that you get is this pity. But now you're literally empowering these women with confidence to go out there and keep being the people that they're being.
Right, exactly. They want to feel like themselves. So usually we won't go with some crazy style or change up the look. We usually just do natural hair duplication and make them look exactly like themselves so they can keep on living their life and nobody's giving them pity or making them feel worse or asking how they're feeling every 5 minutes. They can just live their lives.
Oh, I love that. And tell me a little bit more as far as, is it mostly when they're starting to thin? What happens when they're actually starting to bald? What is there stages that you have to do?
So as soon as they know that they're going to receive a treatment that is going to lose their hair, and not everybody loses their hair. Some people have the luxury of having a lower dose or a different kind of treatment that they're not going to lose it. But as soon as they receive that information that they are 100% going to lose their hair, then they reach out to us, and we have about 7 to 14 days after the first treatment that they are definitely going to lose it. Now, in that time, they can come in and we can cut their hair down for them so they don't have to go through the process of it coming out, because sometimes that's a little bit more traumatic.
The shedding, yeah.
Exactly. Yes, because it's all over the pillow. It's falling out everywhere. It's very empowering to just accept what is and let us take it and put the new hair on and not go through that process. So that's my favorite, is when we're allowed to do that and they let us. And then they have their new hair and they look like themselves and they feel better just having that. Some people like to let it come out themselves. We're very flexible, whatever works for them. And then afterwards, then we put on the new hair, get it fitted, cut it in, make it look perfect.
Do you have to do this throughout their process? Because that journey might take a year, 2 years, some people are 6 months. How often do you have to see them, and what would that be like?
Well, these pieces are going to last sometimes up to a year, sometimes more, depending on how much they wear them. If they wear them every day, it's going to be a little bit less. If they wear them more often, maybe they need one other piece, right? But as soon as they're in remission and they're able to grow back their hair, then we go through that process with them as well. So as soon as they have about 4 inches of growth, then we can do extensions.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. I never really thought about having a piece done. We always think about, if you lose your hair, you have to go get a wig. And I've seen many wigs, and some are great and some look, not the best, and they don't really represent what you look like. So I feel like you're doing something that represents them more, gives them their natural look, and continues to make them feel like themselves, which is important.
It is. Yeah, we're there for every step of the process, right? So from the moment that it happens to the time that they're growing it back and then wearing the extensions. And sometimes they wear the extensions until they don't even need them at all, right? And for some people who don't have the 100% that they're going to lose their hair, I would always recommend a cold cap. That's another way of, keeping your hair. I've seen that work amazing. Amazing. It freezes the cells. The chemotherapy and the drugs don't actually get to the hair follicles themselves. So that's another option as well, because we just want people to be happy,
And I love that. And look, like you were saying before, it's not only for our chemo patients, it could be for patients that have alopecia or different reasons why they're losing or thinning hair, both men and women. But I agree. There's a wellness component to that, and I think by you working with other providers and figuring out also, especially with patients with alopecia and autoimmune disease, there's so much that can kind of foster why they're losing hair. So I love that they have a treatment, and I hope in today's day, which doesn't seem to happen all the time, that they understand there's other things that can try to reverse it that are not just traditional medicine, which I think gets in the way sometimes of patients healing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not sure you have an opinion on that one.
No, I agree. I agree with you. Yeah, that's well said.
It's hard, right? And it's hard, and women come in and you can do traction alopecia, regular alopecia. I think the chemo is where our heart always feels bad, because this is something that we know they're going to lose the majority of their hair depending on the chemo protocol and a longer time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women are very uncomfortable and may wear a scarf or a wig. But I really appreciate that you took the time to kind of educate yourself to do that specialized and to do something that really truly impacts every single woman's confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. So what is your journey now? Like, you started really young. I think I heard that you started at 16, understanding where you wanted to go. Tell us a little bit about your leadership role and how you became this entrepreneur.
Well, I think it pretty much chose me. I started when I was 16, graduated high school with my cosmetology license. Immediately, I was working in a studio that helped women with hair loss. So I knew that I wanted to do more than cuts and color. Cuts and color are great. They can definitely make somebody's day. But when you can give a woman something they didn't have, you're changing their life.
Right.
And so this brings me more joy, more passion, more success. I definitely play a leadership role every single day. And I like it. It helps me get out of my comfort zone. I've grown so much as a business owner. I'm sure you can relate to that, right?
Yeah, and as a business owner, you mentioned one word which I really love that you have to have in order to be successful. Do you remember what that word was?
Resourcefulness.
Resourcefulness. Good job. Tell me a little about that, because that's so true, right? I think people think it's going to be easy. I have this cliche saying, and I tell people when you start your own company, you're going to be the janitor, you're going to be the secretary, you're going to be the assistant, you're going to be the provider, you're going to be the accountant. You are all of that in the beginning, right? It's a really difficult process. So being resourceful made me think of all of those hats you have to wear. So tell me a little bit about what that meant for you, and how would you encourage other women to go and be successful?
With that, I mean, being resourceful, you just have to know that whatever happens, you're going to get it done. It's late nights, it's working on the weekends, it's planning when you don't want to be planning, and basically spending your whole life obsessed with your craft. Really. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's the sacrifice of not going out or going to this event or hanging out with your friends, or even just, watching a bunch of movies and stuff all weekend. You have to be on it when you're a business owner.
It is. And that's 24/7 job.
It's a sacrifice that most people are not willing to do. Yeah. For sure.
I agree with that. There's so many times that people think you have this cush job. It's 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And in reality, you're working all night. You have your laptop like me on the bed at midnight, and you're trying to get your stuff done. On the weekend, you're planning. And I always feel guilty as of having 2 grown children. I always said that Bella was my third child, but I definitely spend more time with Bella than I did with my own children. And, there's some mommy guilt related that I've had to work through. But I think as women entrepreneurs, it encompasses all of that. And it takes a lot of time and effort.
It does. It does. For sure. I didn't know you had 2 grown kids.
2 grown kids.
Okay. But yes, the business is definitely another child. That is for sure. We should actually have like instead of baby showers, like something for when you open up your new business, like have a shower for that. I feel like
Have a business shower.
we should have a business shower. It should be a thing. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
We might need to make that up.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
sell that.
I feel it. I feel it because it's just as necessary. Like I want a registry for my business, like everyone come together and help me collaborate because it does feel like you're parenting, right? So it's almost, I would say, even a little bit harder than parenting even.
Yeah. And I think as women, we feel we have to be successful, right? We don't want to fail. People are watching us. We're doing all this. We're taking this time and effort, and we need to be amazing, and we need to be amazing at everything we do, right? And so we always talk about multitasking, trying to be great at everything, which is probably not an accurate statement. Something always kind of gives, but we're trying to be a good mother. We're trying to be a good wife. We're trying to be a good entrepreneur. We're trying to, be a good role model. And that becomes really stressful, I think, women. And we talk about there's no reason to be perfect. None of us are perfect. But as long as we take a good step forward and really give it our best, I think it comes off sincere.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely.
And that's not an easy concept. Have you had any struggles where you had to go through and make big adjustments in your career?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can think that you're doing everything correctly, right? You hire all your staff, you think you've got everybody great, and then sometimes you have to realize that, oh, I made a mistake and let everything go and kind of start over sometimes. So yeah, I've had to do that before where I had a staff and they weren't producing well and things weren't working well and I had to come in and revamp my whole culture, right? But it's seeing what is going wrong and knowing how to go in and fix it all. Right. But that's hard because it feels like you're starting over again. I mean, you've had plenty of employees over the years. You know how that can be. So that would probably be one of the most challenging things I've ever done is just cleaning house and recreating the culture and starting that over.
I agree. That's hard. That pivot that you have to learn to pivot really quickly and not take it as a loss. I mean, I think that's always been the biggest struggle for every entrepreneur is staffing, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're perfectionists. We want things done a certain way, and we want our staff to be super helpful, super happy, and love their trade. And sometimes that falls short. And we have to be able to pivot and say, you're either going to be great at this or we just kind of move. And I always tell people someone told me once, it's not that I want to fire you, is I want to let you go to be great at something else. Right? And not hold you back because this is not what you're going to be great at. And then if you can find something that's great, is really nurturing them to be even better. And I think that's what I love about my job is I get to nurture my staff. I got to train them. I get to see them grow into these amazing providers and take a step back and feel like those are my children now that are all grown up.
It is. It's getting old. Like it's your children for sure. I love it. I love it. Yeah. When you get a good person and they come in and they just kill it, it is so motivating. And you're like, I did it. Like, I know I can do it. Like, it's totally possible. Right. But it's getting that person and being able to get them to that point. Yeah.
And it also helps you not lose the excitement in the field, right?
True.
To see it through, I call them newbies, right? To see it through a newbie's little eyes and they get so excited and they're learning and they're just overwhelmed by all the amount of knowledge. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I remember that time when I started.
Right. Yes. It brings back like nostalgia and it gets me excited for what I do and what we do again. Yeah. Seeing it through their eyes and yeah, it's beautiful.
So let me ask you a little bit about stigmas. In this world, we still trying to judge women for looking pretty, for wanting more beauty, for either having lavish hair or, no wrinkles or bigger lips. Like we're a very judgmental society. How do we help that?
I think just living by example, the women that I know who take very good care of themselves, they're wonderful people. They're the best people you will ever meet. On the inside and the outside, they match, you know? So I just think living by example is the best way to do it, right?
The Formula Wellness 4 cornerstones are nutrition, functional wellness, aesthetics, and brain health. These serve as a guide rail for individuals that are pursuing longevity inside and out. Formula Wellness is setting the new benchmark in preventative healthcare and aesthetics. Thank you for all of your support. To learn more, please visit www.formulawellness.com.
I never thought about that way, that people think because you're trying to look pretty that you may be shallow. And yet they're amazing human beings. We all want to feel better inside and out. And sometimes looking better on the outside gives us that little glow on the inside to know that we can step forward with confidence and not feel bad. Because it's still a little thing where people will come in and literally get all their treatments done and say, well, I can't let anybody know I've had this done. And I'm like, I would post it everywhere. I have no secret of what I've had done. And I think that's okay, right? To kind of not try to hide it. Nobody's perfect. There's no filters on every single person. Everything we do is for effort.
Yes. Well, I even had an employee who's been with me now for almost 5 years. When she first came in, she was intimidated, right? She was like, oh, I don't belong here. Like, oh, this girl's so pretty. She is probably mean. And within like 10 minutes of talking to her, I was able to turn that around, right? Because then she's like, oh, this girl is beautiful, but she's also very cool and very nice and chill and loving and all the good qualities that you could possibly want in a person. So I do think it only takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes to squash that stereotype, in my opinion, because I've been able to do it over and over and over again, right? And now she's super comfortable, and we look back at that moment and laugh, and now she feels like she definitely belongs. And I know that she's not the first person who's come into our place and felt that way, right? But within a few moments, you can change
I
it.
love that. I mean, I think, it's interesting because I think we do talk therapy a lot, right? Both of our professions are where people come in and show us their insecurities and understand. And we need to take that conversation and empower them to feel better, right? My goal is when they leave me that they feel beautiful, that they feel amazing about themselves, right? They come in with insecurities, and we're trying to turn that around and empower them to leave that door with some serious swag when they're walking out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they come in one way and they leave and go get the job they've always wanted. They go find a new boyfriend, right? Get that new relationship. They go change somebody else's life. So it's a ripple effect with what we do, right? They come in, we're kind of therapists for them. We make them look good. We make them feel good. And then they go out into the world and can literally do anything. So we definitely transfer the energy in that way.
I could just imagine them just sitting there, they're getting their hair done, they're leaving on a Beyonce moment, their hair's flowing in the fan.
Yeah, we should just have a fan at the front door, and as they leave, they do some hair flips. Our mission statement is changing the world with each hair flip.
Oh, very cute.
Hair,
I like that.
Yes. Yes. So we're all about the hair flips and, making people feel good. And, before they come to us, they couldn't even imagine wanting to flip their hair. And then when they leave and when they've had this hair for a while, I mean, they become different people. And it's amazing to see them change.
It was interesting that you said about jobs. I didn't really think about the fact that, I always think about we do it for ourselves, right? I want to look better for myself. I always tell people, don't come in here and look better for your spouse or look better for someone else. It really will impact you more when you're doing it for yourself to do that. But I've had plenty of women who have told me by getting rid of their mean lines that they get a job and they get a promotion, that they don't look angry. And I didn't even think about it like that, that people do look at us and perceive us the way we look, not by the way we are, not by our personality, but they literally look at you and already have, I think it's something, I think the saying was something like within women are like within the first second, and men take about 5 seconds to judge you. Yeah, we're very judgy, and we get 1 second and we're done. we've already made an impression.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, when I see a beautiful girl, I'm like, ooh, she must be like me. I love it. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have lots to talk about. Okay, she probably likes, procedures and cosmetics and fashion and all of that. So I get very excited when I see a girl that's like really beautiful, and likes the same things as I do, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think there should ever be intimidation. There should never be jealousy between women. I mean, this is really, I always say women have to lift other women up. And I would say all my friends are gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think they're all beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that. And there's, they always say you want to be surrounded by ugly girls so you can look better. And I never understood that. My girls are going to be gorgeous. I can to walk right next side by me and really kind of have that confidence, but people are really intimidated by that, and we're all beautiful in our own right. But to be okay with a little bit of enhancements here and there. And look, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm over 50. And it gets harder as you get older.
Oh my gosh, I would never guess.
Just the little bits, the little tweaks. And because as you get older, you don't feel old in the inside. And so it's really disheartening when we start to look old on the outside. And so I think that just makes us feel who we truly are inside.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I don't believe that you should get old and just like let everything go.
Yeah.
And isn't that part of being a woman is like having this stuff, It's fun. It is truly fun and exciting to change your hair color or change the size of your lips or get a new jawline. Like that stuff feels good. So I think it can be fun.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Someone told me recently my hair was too long, and that as I've gotten older, I should have short hair. And it was like, I'm not cutting my hair. That was my response. I'm like, I love my hair. Why should I cut it? But people will literally think, like, as you get older, I can't wear a crop top. And I'm like, why? I have the abs for it. Like, why can't I? Or I have to have short hair, or I can't wear certain things. And I'm thinking, you know what? You wear whatever you feel like wearing, whatever makes you feel the happiest. I mean, there should be no judgment between us women.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know what you're saying, because we have a lot of clients that in their 50s, 60s, 70s, right? And they will usually do the short haircuts, right? Because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do. But we also have a lot of women that age that still like their hair very long. So I don't think that there's any reason to not look the way you want to look based off of what you should do or what looks better. I think long hair is always sexy. So, and I'm going for sexy.
Flips.
Right. I'm going for sexy for the rest of my life. Like even when I'm 80, I'm sorry, I still want to feel beautiful and look sexy for me. Like not even for anybody else, just for me.
I'm with her. I want to be sexy at 80. I want to walk around with my cute little shoes, hair all done up.
Even if it's like, I mean, I would even go at 80. I don't know. I probably still wouldn't grow gray hair out. I probably won't. I'm probably going to die coloring my hair, so never mind that. No, I'll still be adorable for sure, right? Very glamorous, like very like posh older lady. Why not?
There is no reason why not.
I don't see why. Nope, I'm never giving up.
So if you had to encourage women out there to not worry about what other people say and really just kind of do what they want to do and not worry about judgment, what would you say to them?
To like build confidence. Confidence takes time. There's not one thing that you could say to anybody to get that internal confidence. It's work. It's a muscle. You have to flex it every day. You have to get outside of your comfort zone. You have to work on it constantly. I wish I could instill confidence like that. I do. I really do. That would be a game changer, right? For your employees, your friends, your family. That's something you have to wake up and just decide every day that you're going to be a confident person and work on it.
I like that you said it's a muscle flex. right?
Yes.
We all know to work out, you have to do it consistently, right?
Mhm.
Consistency to build that muscle. And just like our personalities is constantly learning, constantly evolving of who we are.
Yeah.
And I always talk about that we're in different seasons in our lives, depending on where we're going through, depending on what emotional trauma we had, depending on our age. We're always changing our seasons. But it doesn't mean that every season we cannot fight to be better,
Right.
to feel better, to look better. And I think that should be our constant fight.
It is. Yeah. Otherwise, what are you doing? What's your purpose? If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's a Tony Robbins quote. So every day you have to work on it. For sure.
I love that.
For sure.
And I think in both of our industries, right, it's very forward projection, right? What we look like on our outside with our beauty and our hair and, and now trying to make people feel better in the inside. But there really is a combination, right? That glow not only comes from our outside skin, but comes from the inside. And so I always try to tell my patients that it's actually pretty easy for me to make them look beautiful on the outside, right? We have injections, we have all these little fun things.
Absolutely.
But to make them feel amazing on the inside is a process that they have to do with me.
Yes.
It's hard work.
It is hard work. I see beautiful girls who haven't even had work done yet. And they're just so insecure. And yes, the stuff that we do is helping for sure. It's doing great, but there's a lot of stuff inside that's not my specialty technically. I can help, but that is something that you have to have within and work on all the time.
You say it's not your specialty, but we all know that child therapy starts with our hairdresser.
True. Very true. Yes. Yes. I mean, we definitely build confidence. But there has to be that like desire, right? From them.
They do. And sometimes they're not even sure they're ready to go there. And I think by giving that supportive hand and kind of lifting them up, they understand that that's possible. It's disheartening when they don't think they're worthy. And I try to remind everybody that we're all worthy, right? We're all God's children and we're beautiful in our own right. And lifting that up, it's so powerful to see them light up.
It is. It is. And then when they're ready, then they got it.
Then that's the girls that are walking around with that confidence talking about.
Then we can take it over. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
I definitely think it was harder in my 20s, right? The confidence. It really, 30s, 40s, I feel like that's where you find yourself and you can kind of run with it, right? Wasn't the 20s harder?
Girl, by the time you get to 50, you don't care anymore.
I know. Well, that's what's happening. I love it. I love this. I always knew I was going to love my 30s. I knew it. I was like, because I heard from everybody, because I've always had an older clientele, right? And, they're kind of like other mothers to me pretty much. And they're like, you're just going to love your 30s. Oh, the 20s are so hard. And the 20s are hard. They're for discovering, figuring yourself out. And then in your 30s, that's when I was like, okay, now I'm good. Now I have the confidence that I've always worked on and strived for.
We go through, I think in your 20s, you care so much about what other people think, and you're trying to be in the in crowd, and you're trying to do everything correctly. And by the time you get to 50, you stop really caring what other people.
Yeah, did you think?
And so when they say smart comments to me, I just look at them. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah. It rolls off. You don't care anymore. And you're secure in yourself, right? You have your career, you have your family, you have your friends, you have homes and businesses, and you know who you are and where you're going. So I definitely love getting older. That's fun. And then with what we do in the beauty industry, right? We make it perfect.
Yeah. You make it fun.
We do.
So of course, I have to ask you our last question, which is, what does beauty mean to you, since it means so much different things to each individual?
I think beauty is a vibe.
Okay.
It is your confidence mixed with what you put out into the world, right? So it can be whatever you want it to be. They always say it's in the eye of the beholder, right? So it can be whatever you want it to be.
Well, I love that, Jordan. I don't think I've heard it explained as a vibe, and I really love that. It is this vibration between your inner and exterior personality and beauty, and to make sure that you're presenting that almost like as you bounce around the room, you have a vibe and a presentation that you're giving off. So I really love that.
Yeah, even without talking, I do feel like there's vibes, even if you didn't say anything.
So when you walk into a room, you walk in with confidence.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining our podcast.
You're so welcome.
You were such a pleasure, Jordan, and I wish you all the best luck in your entrepreneurship.
You too. You too.